Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. I'm here this morning. As you can see, I'm not dressed yet. I don't know if I'm going out of the house today. It's really cold here. Thankfully, there's no rain or snow, but it's really cold. So I was up really early, like maybe 4 a.m., just watching movies and got back up. I'm going to do this quick Married to Medicine review, and then I'm probably going to go back in my bed and finish watching movies. So I'll have this review up just in case anybody comes in. This is the latest one. This is our Married to Medicine season. Well, yeah, 11 seasons in. I'll let it play it while at the same time, just in case something triggers my memory. Season 11, episode 6. Good morning, Linda Gamble. How are you today? Are you in a place where it's really cold? I didn't ask you. I just mentioned the weather. I said it was down in the 20s this morning, but we don't have any rain or anything like we did yesterday because we get a little bit of ice when that happened. And I was up early, but I'm going back to bed to finish watching movies and stuff. Well, I'm going to see if we get a few people in here, but if not, I'm still just going to start this Married to Medicine review of season 11, episode 6. This is the Rodeo Reckoning. So the ladies are still down in Orlando, Florida at the Dude Ranch, and everybody's recovering from the big fight that they had last week between Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Contessa, and also Heavenly and Sweet Tea. It's cold in Texas. Ooh, 28 degrees. Ooh, yeah, that's cold. That's about the same. Here in Charlotte, it's about the same. The only thing is it's clear, so that's good. Yesterday, it was just as cold, but it was raining, so we have to be a little careful when it's like that. Yeah, I think the country's going through a deep freeze, and then they're calling for more weather that's going to come southeast. So that means we might get some icy rain or even some snow. So that's going to be interesting because we're not really prepared for it here. They'll close the schools and they'll try to throw some ice down, but mainly everybody just tries to stay off the roads. So luckily, I'm still on vacation. Then I'll work a few days next week, and then my real vacation, where me and the ladies are going to St. Thomas, will be next Friday. I didn't realize I had on like a heavy robe, and I just put my other little robe on top of it, but the whole thing is just sloppy, but it's okay. I want to stay warm. Okay, so in this episode, the ladies are still in their golf carts. They're still down in Orlando, Florida, and Dr. Jackie and Dr. Heavenly decide they want to leave the table. Dr. Jackie's asking Dr. Heavenly, please be quiet, because Heavenly's still kind of arguing a little bit, saying she told him to leave her alone. You know how she is. She didn't want to talk. Contessa kind of pressed it, and then they started arguing. Good morning, Cece. How are you this morning? Linda Gamble is here. Audrey Gavins, thank you so much. Good morning. Everyone come in, please, and like, comment. And I think everyone is already subscribers, but I appreciate all of my subscribers. I'm growing slowly but surely, and I love it. I appreciate that because I get to kind of know everybody as they come in. So for me, that's the best way. This is the Married to Medicine review, the continuation of what's happening down in the Dude Ranch. And as I said, Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie are still talking a little bit in the golf cart. Dr. Jackie's driving, but she's so nervous she can't get it started. Good morning, the network specialist. I hope you're well. Dr. Jackie can't get the golf cart started, so they decided to get out the cart and just walk toward their cabins. And Quad and Phaedra remained at the table because all of the ruckus from last week, they didn't even get to eat yet. So Quad was ordering her drink. The food actually came. So Quad and Phaedra decided they're going to stay at the table and just go ahead and eat. Dr. Simone comes back. She had walked away as well. Dr. Simone comes back, and Dr. Jackie ends up going back. Dr. Contessa and Sweet Tea left. They did not come back to the dinner. They're all having separate conversations about the same incident that happened, and the stories are kind of already changing. Thank you, Linda Gamble. Speaking, she greets everybody as they come in. She's a wonderful moderator. Thank you so much. Good morning, Audrey. Good morning. Thank you for coming in. So Dr. Jackie, she comes back to the table and she wants to know, is there anything else they should get out of the way while they're still all there together down in Orlando? And Quad, remember someone, actually Heavenly, Dr. Heavenly had mentioned that Dr. Jackie apologized because she was just giving a blanket apology because she didn't want to hear Quad's mouth anymore about Napa and about New York. Quad asked Dr. Jackie whether or not that's really true. Dr. Jackie said, it's true, but she wasn't just trying to squash everything. She just wanted to sincerely apologize for everything. And since she wasn't sure of everything, she was just giving her kind of a blanket apology. So Quad accepts that. Simone wants to know what she can do, but Simone apologized, but she said that she thought that she and Quad were good again. Quad said that they were good again, but of course, New York kind of triggered Napa, and then she was angry at Simone again. And then, of course, with these reality shows, even once they get over something, once it shows up on TV, people start to get angry or relive their feelings all over again. Well, thank you. The likes are matching. So I have 7 likes and 7 in the chat. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, everybody. And so next we see that, well, Dr. Jackie is asking, can she pray for Quad? And Quad agrees. So Dr. Jackie, she gives a nice prayer. She talks about the circle being unbroken and friendships getting back together. So that was really nice. So they finished dinner. The next morning, they're opening up in everybody's cabin. And while they're in everybody's cabin, we see that Dr. Simone and Dr. Jackie spent the night in the same cabin. They've been longtime friends. And Dr. Jackie did fall down. Dr. Jackie has fashioned this little sling out of what looked like might have been a head wrap or something. So that was cute. But I was really worried that Dr. Jackie might have been hurt. But Dr. Jackie started joking about it, making jokes. When she's trying to, every time they ask her what's wrong, she acts like it's something else, that, there's another ailment, because Dr. Contessa pushed her while they were arguing. So they all come to breakfast and realize that what I didn't like was that Sweet Tea was a part of the argument too, but at breakfast, the people that resolved it was Dr. Heavenly, Dr. Simone, Dr. Jackie was there. Everybody was at breakfast, but for some reason, they don't want Sweet Tea to address any issues. She's kind of being treated like she's not fully a member of the group. So they leave and get back to Atlanta. Oh, no, before they leave, and before they even ate, before they leave the cabins, my notes were out of order. Quad, we see how they catch up with everybody. Quad is calling King, her boyfriend in Atlanta, and telling him what happens. Dr. Contessa and Phaedra are talking in Phaedra's cabin. And Dr. Simone was still talking to Dr. Jackie about what happened. So finally, the trip is over. They get back to Atlanta. And then we see Dr. Heavenly was saying she knows that she was wrong to say your mama to Contessa, but she was saying that she realized that she said your mama, she did mean to say it, but she didn't mean it to be something that was going to be offensive. She just says it in the heat of argument, and she doesn't mean it. And she expects that everybody knows that she doesn't mean it. I think I'm tired of Dr. Heavenly doing that. That's just the oldest read in the book, your mama. And then she doesn't want anybody to be offended. And it just makes things like Groundhog's Day. It's the same argument all the time. And the trip should have been fun and would have been fun, I think, without Heavenly. But as I look on a lot of chats and things, a lot of Heavenly fans say the show is her, and she makes the show, her and Quad. And I just hope it doesn't continue down this path, because it's not fun to watch. They get back to Atlanta. The couples are talking about what happened. We see Dr. Contessa and Dr. Scott. And she's filling him in on what actually happened. And he's shocked at Heavenly's language. He's shocked that Heavenly's still calling him abusive, because he thought that they had made up. We see Cecil took Dr. G and Dr. Scott out to ride ATVs. Dr. G and Cecil are really good friends, and they usually play golf together, but now they kind of mixed up their golf routine. They're riding ATVs. They have Dr. Scott with them. And Cecil is kind of upset. He's letting Dr. G know that because Dr. Damon and Dr. G are kind of on the outs, is making it awkward toward the men, and they had never had that problem before. While we have this conversation between the three and the ATV ride, we see Dr. Damon walking up to Toya and Dr. Eugene's house. He's there to meet with Dr. Eugene. They are on the back Lanai area. Dr. Eugene and Toya have a really nice house. They always keep their house up. And they haven't moved this season. This appears to be the same house. So they're having a man's talk. They're having cigars. They're drinking a little bit of, looks like liquor or something. But Dr. Damon he's acting clueless again. I don't like when Dr. Damon does this. Dr. Eugene is saying that things are awkward between the men because of what's going on between Dr. Eugene No, not Dr. Eugene is saying what's going on between Dr. G and Dr. Damon is making things awkward between the men. So he's acting like he doesn't know. He's saying, did he tell you that? Excuse me. Good morning, sound checking that. Thank you for coming in. We're doing the Married to Medicine review. And Dr. Eugene saying, no, he didn't tell me that, but I know that he feels that way. And Dr. Eugene is trying to get Dr. Damon to see that they could just make up or they should talk to each other. But right now it's good that they have a go-between. So Dr. Damon, he kind of brushes him off like he brushed off Dr. G. And he said, if Dr. G wants to talk to him, he can talk to him and they can probably hash things out by themselves. He doesn't appreciate Dr. Eugene being a go-between. And they even show a scene, the confessional between Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon, where Dr. Heavenly says, stay out of it, Dr. Eugene. So she's putting him on notice. She's not above attacking the husbands because that's where this started, her attacking Dr. G. So next we see, okay. For some reason I have rodeo notes down here. Nothing more really happened at the rodeo. Like I said, they didn't want Sweet Tea to talk and say anything about what she felt, but they decided they're going to hash it out when they get back to Atlanta. They are back in Atlanta. Dr. Contessa, Dr. Scott, and one of the daughters gets a scene. One of the daughters is funny. She's a 10-year-old. The girls are getting really tall. She comes out with a basketball. It's Contessa's basketball, and it's a sign when Contessa told her. She said, these kids, they need to learn. You have to ask for something. She said she would go through all the basketballs and get the one on the shelf. It was signed by a WNBA team. So that has a little bit of value to it. So that was cute. I like scenes when they put with the doctors, you see them with their children. So that was funny. We show Toya has a confessional where she prays for true friends and not surface friends. So this is a precursor. Toya and Dr. Heavenly are on this kick to get Phaedra to reveal more of herself. They think that Phaedra is not as transparent as the rest of the ladies. And we know that they like to get more of people's personal business so they can use that to spray them with later. I don't think for a second that Toya or Heavenly want a real relationship with Phaedra. And Phaedra does keep it surface. She absolutely keeps it surface. So next we have production was being very shady. I don't know what's going to happen with Dr. Heavenly, because like I said, Dr. Heavenly has really developed her social media presence. She has a lot of fans over on IG. I follow her over there just to get content. So she has fans over there. She has her huge YouTube channel. But when she was in one of the confessionals, and then when they flashed back to where she was having a disagreement with the ladies and saying your mama, production puts this montage of Heavenly doing that from like 2018 or so was the earliest one where they had her doing that, saying your mama to people. So I don't know if she's going to be reprimanded for this or not. I don't know what they're going to end up doing about that. Dr. Contessa and Dr. Scott are getting some construction work done on the house. So they're fixing the backyard area. They're talking while the daughter's playing basketball, and they are going to plan some type of pickleball event. So they usually do golfing, things like that. They want to plan a pickleball event. That's something a lot of people are doing now. Scott made a joke that you turn into a 65-year-old white man, because evidently, I guess that's a popular sport with a certain demographic. And Contessa said, oh, you're talking about Jackie and Curtis. So Dr. Jackie and Curtis catching a couple of strays from Scott, because Dr. Scott did mention that while they were still at the Dude Ranch, Curtis called him and said, what's going on with your wife? And he hadn't talked to Contessa yet, of course. So he hadn't talked to Contessa. He didn't know anything about the fight. And Dr. Contessa said that they had a back and forth, she and Heavenly, and Dr. Jackie ended up getting knocked down. So Curtis called Scott about it. Curtis called Dr. Scott about it because he didn't know that it had gotten that serious amongst the ladies. So the ATV scene, we had Cecil and Scott talking to Dr. G. Dr. G said he feels like he's owed an apology. He said he feels that every time something happens amongst the ladies, Dr. Heavenly is the one to drag in the husbands, and that his feelings are still kind of hurt about the way Damon has responded to everything. I'm going to stop and read some comments. Okay, there we are. I apologize about that, everybody. My internet, there must be weather somewhere. I didn't know it was here, but the internet went out. I was in the midst of reading comments. Linda Gamble was saying Heavenly needs to worry about the outside children Dr. Damon has out here, according to the Becky interview, allegedly and in opinion. Linda Gamble, thank you. I'm going to have to look for that interview because Dr. Heavenly hasn't addressed that at all. Of course, she wants to talk about everybody else. TNTG Mom entered. Hello, thank you for coming to the Married to Medicine review. She's speaking to everyone in the room. I appreciate that. Good morning. Sandra, Sharon Gabo, good morning. Good morning. Network specialist, good morning. She's speaking to TNTG Mom. Okay, this internet is still looking spotty, so I'm going to make sure that I try to get the last few points that were in here. Okay, I addressed Dr. Damon's being blank and acting up too, because that I really didn't like that. And then Heavenly wanted him to stay out of it. Oh, Quad crying, acting up again. The last scene is we see Phaedra go up to Dr. Jackie's house and knock on Dr. Jackie's door. Dr. Jackie is doing the second annual med ball, like the med, but it's the med ball. So I didn't know this was only the second one. So evidently last year was the first one that they had. But guess what it is this year? Maternal health, Black women's maternal health. You remember Dr. Jackie got in trouble over on Dr. Heavenly's channel complaining about Black women when you're pregnant, trying to call out of work and lying about symptoms. So she's actually still trying to clean her image up a little bit. But this is a good idea. I mean, that's a good cause to give to, of course. 3 times more likely to die in childbirth. There's a terrible story out now about those little babies in the NICU. Trigger alert, if you hadn't read it. That it's terrible. I might do that as a hot topic, but I think that's so much more than a hot topic. I don't know if I even want to talk about it. Wow. So I don't even know where that would fit in. That would have to be a separate topic. But the short story is there is a nurse. I think she's 26 years old. She's a clear woman. She is a NICU nurse, which is very prestigious, at a hospital in Virginia. And there are unexplained incidences of fractures in these newborn babies. Now, they showed the lady's mugshot, but they didn't mention anything about the demographics of the children. One of the parents, a father of a son, went public and said that it's his baby, one of the babies. 7 or 8 babies, maybe more, over the course of 2 years. This lady, there would be unexplained fractures, broken bones of these infants in the NICU. And it turns out she was on some type of medical leave and it stopped. She came back, retained her position in the NICU, and the broken bones started again. And now we're finding out with demographics, it's these little angels, our babies, boys. So this lady has some type, they're going to make it that she'll be crazy in a minute with a mental issue. But it's Buffy that used to be on Married to Medicine. She also has a TikTok. She goes under Auntie Buffy. Somebody had the nerve to ask her, why are you bringing up race? And she said, this is a whole hate crime. That's why I'm bringing up race. But I brought that up because Phaedra and Dr. Jackie are talking about the med ball, and the funds are going to go to maternal mortality, maternal health, and Black mothers carrying children. But when I read that story yesterday, that I don't even want to see any more about it. That was terrible. Of course, when something like that come up, you want to learn as much as you can before you start making assumptions. But I don't like the way the news kind of doesn't want to tell what the real story is. But if you look on social media, you'll get the real story. Good morning, Yvette. Thank you for coming in. I have one crafty sister. Thank you for coming in. Thank you. But the last scene that I was going into with Married to Medicine, because my internet was getting kind of spotty, Dr. Jackie and Phaedra are planning this med ball. Phaedra has a ton of connections. She told Dr. Jackie she's at her disposal. Dr. Jackie's so funny. She said, well, I can't get you to answer my text or email. And Phaedra's going, you can't. I didn't get any. So she didn't, evidently, Phaedra is so busy that sometimes she might not follow up. Dr. Jackie has a goal of $25,000. Phaedra ups the goal to $100,000. So she asked Dr. Jackie how many doctors are going to be invited. Dr. Jackie says it's everybody that she's in contact with. So that's kind of vague. So I don't know about the $100,000 goal if they don't know how many people are going to be there or not. But Phaedra and Dr. Jackie working together, I guess they'll be able to do that. We also had a scene of Phaedra at the funeral parlor. So we know she has a mortician's license. I didn't know that she was still working with Willie Watkins in that funeral home. So she's doing a great job. Sharon Gobble, yes, my goodness, it is. It's very sad. It's very sad. So I'm gonna read more on it, and maybe we'll talk about it again. But it's just terrible. Just when you think people can't get any worse, they get worse, And it's, I don't know. I don't know. The lady had a mugshot, so I don't know if she's still in jail or not. But she is an actual nurse, and I had one of my great nieces were born. And she was like 2.5 pounds or something. She was in the NICU. And that's a busy place. There's always a nurse. The nurse almost adopt those little babies because some of them are in there for so many weeks or even months. I don't see where they could be alone. But while I was reading up on it, they said that after the unexplained occurrences with these little babies having the broken bones and having fractures, when they're just laying in a little, usually incubator. So how are you breaking a bone? They're too little to even do anything. But they started to do increased rounds, and also they had some video cameras and stuff like that. So hopefully that footage doesn't leak. That's going to be inflammatory. That's going to be something terrible, especially in Virginia. So yeah, that's terrible. But that was Married to Medicine. This wasn't a great episode either. This wasn't really good. I think we need to mix something up amongst the ladies. I know the ones that have been there, the OGs, they're prestigious, they're doctors, but the only ones that we really see their story, Dr. Eugene and Toya, they are very candid about their lives. Dr. Simone and Cecil, even Dr. Jackie and Curtis. But I think we can get rid of Dr. Heavenly and Damon. If they're not going to give any more, and if Heavenly's going to continue to cause all this conflict, especially with some of the language she uses against the other ladies, I'd like to see her just go. And Quad too. I think Quad, she's not really friends with the ladies, in my opinion. She's just there for her check, just like anybody. That's fine to go to your job for a check. But I think she's kind of drumming up drama between her and Sweet Tea because there shouldn't be any conflict there. Her ex-husband is remarried, and she has a new boyfriend. The jury's out on King, everybody. He seems like he likes being on TV. In his scenes, he's a lot. He usually try to get some lines in and stuff. Then when they showed the two, he and Quad at breakfast in Quad's house, he was standing over at Quad's house. He was working on his computer, and she came out in a onesie, and he was like, "Okay, boss, baby," making a little joke, but he just seemed like he wants to be on TV. He likes to be seen. Sharon Gobble, I agree, Sandra. I didn't like this episode. You saw it, right? It just seemed like it started out the same thing. You're still arguing. Down in Orlando. Why would you leave Atlanta, go to Orlando? And those cabins were cute down there arguing. And I didn't realize they didn't eat dinner and then came back to eat. Some of them wanted to stay and eat. Then you ate. And then Dr. Contessa was one of the trip planners. She did apologize for that. She said, I could have been more mature. I planned the trip. Oh, the other thing, I'm glad you mentioned it, Sharon. One crafty sister said, Heavenly is the agent of chaos. She is an agent of chaos because this is what the funny thing is. I don't know if Bravo's going to end up disciplining Heavenly or not, but with the editing, we see what she says, your mama, and that caused all that conflict. We see Dr. Contessa go off. But when she was speaking to Dr. Scott about what happened, it seemed like it was worse. She said that Dr. Heavenly ended up saying, F your mama, not just your mama, F your mama. And I don't care nothing about that or something worse to Dr. Contessa, which is when she told her to square up Garden Tool and started advancing toward her. So Bravo, evidently they edited it just so we can get the your mama. And I figured it was something a little worse, but I couldn't figure out what would be worse than that. But if she said F your mama, that is a lot worse, especially knowing how circumstances among Dr. Contessa. Because I read up on them, they said she grew up very poor. And she has a lot of siblings, and the mother. Dr. Contessa's only like maybe 40 something, but Amongst her siblings, the mother was passing away, dying at home from cancer, and they didn't have any help or anything like that. So the children were the ones responsible for taking care of their mother in her late stages of cancer. And this is something that she has shared with Dr. Heavenly while they were friends. So that Dr. Heavenly is inexcusable to me. Sharon Gabo says Heavenly and Quad need to go. I think that is too. I'd like to see both of them just wrap it up and get out of there. I don't like it. And I'll have a hot topic because I saw something with when Linda Gamble had mentioned that the Real Housewives of Lagos, Phaedra and Quad were still in Lagos, either now or maybe like right after the new year. But they were hanging out with some of the ladies from the Real Housewives of Lagos. And one of the people, they call them frickin' frack. One of the guys that I always complain about how nasty they talk about women. And I say, oh, they go over there and get the rich men. I was kind of teasing, making a few jokes. But this blogger, they said he's over on his page talking about these two ladies like a dog, that they over there selling something and all this kind of stuff. Now, both of them are divorced ladies, and they can go on girls' trip together. And they also, Bravo TV liked the post. So they got 68,000 views, and Bravo TV liked the post. So they're being very strategic. But another thing I saw, there's a huge blogger in Dr. Heavenly's chair. Dr. Heavenly gets a scene with a patient, and it's T.S. Madison. T.S. Madison is another one. She gets real slick at the mouth about the ladies. But some of that is just below the belt. And they can pay for their trip. I don't see why they have to go over there and sell anything. So Phaedra, I think she's getting ready to be attacked by Heavenly, Dr. Heavenly and some of her minions, and by Quad. Quad has the same affiliations because Quad people are calling for her to get out of here too. Thank you, Linda Gamble. I have 16 likes and 13 in the chat, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm right here at 30 minutes. I apologize for the outage. I didn't realize that it was kind of in and out. So I thank you all for staying or either coming back in. So that's the Married to Medicine review. I'm going to try to go live sometime tomorrow, and I'll probably see you ladies in the YouTube streets. And then I'll just probably try to go live every day since I'm off this week. That's mainly what I'm trying to do. Make sure I get in here, get more familiar with my equipment, and able to do some hot topics. But this is the only review that I have for this week, that Married to Medicine review. Hopefully it picks up. TNTG Mom, Heavenly invited Apollo and his wife on the show. TNTG Mom, I think that is what led to Phaedra leaving the show. They say this probably her last season, and she wanted to transition back to Real Housewives of Atlanta anyway. But that's really messy to play like that because of Apollo, we know he can be volatile. We see him jump up one time at Kenya's man that came to a party. CC speaking to TNTG Mom and Sharon Gabo. Yeah, Dr. Heavenly, I don't know why she's got her producer hat on. We don't need her to do that because there's no reason for Apollo and Shireen to show up. And at the cast trip, this is like the end. We have a few more episodes. That'll be a good episode because we're going to see King, who is Quad's boyfriend, who I said seems to like the camera. King's going to get into it with Dr. G for some reason, who's remarried. If I was Sweet Tea, I would have told him to shut his mouth. Don't even open your lips toward this lady's boyfriend because why are you concerned? It doesn't look good. Good morning, Doc Willie. How are you? Oh, you were in the bushes? Okay, I hope you heard some of the review. If not, just like, and you can do the team replay if you wanted to. We were wrapping up. But I appreciate it. Hopefully it does get better because right now it's dragging a little bit. And I think it's because of Heavenly and Quad. But I thank all of you ladies. I'm right at 31 minutes. And Linda Gamble, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. Sandra P's Gen Xtra for my opinions and a little bit of, girl talk in the morning. Thank you so much. Goodbye.